Hey everyone, you ever get that feeling, that urge to leave your mark on the world, to do something that really matters?
Oh, absolutely. It's a fundamental human drive, that yearning to make a difference, to leave something behind that outlasts us.
Okay, so how do we actually go about making that happen? What are the steps to building a legacy, a life that truly resonates?
Well, it all starts with courage, wouldn't you say? The courage to step outside your comfort zone, to embrace risk, and maybe most importantly, the courage to fail.
You're hitting a nerve there. Fear of failure, it's like a constant companion, always holding us back from really going for it.
It's a powerful force, no doubt about it. But here's the thing, what if we could change our relationship with failure?
Change it how?
Instead of seeing it as this big, scary monster, what if we saw it as, well, a stepping stone, a necessary part of the journey?
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more. How do we shift that perspective? How do we go from fearing failure to embracing it?
It's a process for sure, but one powerful technique is something called fear setting. You actually sit down and write out your worst case scenarios.
Interesting. So you're basically confronting those fears head on, taking away their power by bringing them into the light.
Precisely. And often when you articulate those fears, they lose their grip on you. You realize, hey, even if that happens, I can handle it.
I see. So it's not about avoiding failure altogether, but more about developing the resilience to bounce back, to learn from those setbacks.
You got it. And once you've identified those potential obstacles, you can start brainstorming ways to mitigate them. So you're not just blindly leaping into the unknown, you're taking calculated risks.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, so we've talked about the courage to fail, but what about the actual mark we want to leave? It's easy to get caught up in thinking about, grand achievements, those big world-changing accomplishments.
Right, and while those grand achievements are certainly impactful, legacy can take many forms, don't you think?
Absolutely. It's not just about those big, splashy moments. It's about the everyday choices we make, the impact we have on the people around us.
I couldn't agree more. The kindness we extend, the connections we build, the values we embody, those things create a ripple effect.
They really do. It makes legacy feel a lot more attainable.
Yeah.
It's not just about reaching some monumental milestone. It's about the way we live each day.
It's about the small acts of courage, those moments of generosity, the times we choose to be a little bit better, a little bit kinder.
It reminds me of that quote, "What we do for ourselves dies with us. What we do for others and the world remains and is immortal."
Powerful, isn't it? It really highlights the importance of thinking beyond our own individual pursuits.
Okay, so let's say we've embraced the courage to fail, and we're starting to think about the kind of legacy we want to build. But there's still this feeling of needing to break free, right? To step outside those predefined expectations and really chase our own passions.
You're touching on a crucial point there. This idea of breaking free from the script, it's closely tied to the concept of self-actualization.
Self-actualization. That sounds pretty deep. Break it down for us. What does that actually mean?
At its core, it's about becoming the most authentic version of yourself. Not what your parents envisioned, not what society dictates, but the you that feels true and aligned with your values.
So it's about living a life that feels right for you, even if it looks different from what others might consider normal or successful.
Exactly. When we deny our passions, when we try to force ourselves into a mold that doesn't fit, we end up feeling empty, like something's missing.
I know that feeling all too well. I remember when I finally quit my corporate job to pursue my dream of being a writer.
Oh, tell me about it. What was that like?
It was terrifying, exhilarating, and honestly one of the best decisions I ever made. It wasn't always easy, but it was definitely worth it.
That's a perfect example of what we're talking about. That courage to step outside your comfort zone, to pursue a path that feels authentic, even when everyone else thinks you're crazy.
And speaking of those naysayers, it feels like criticism is an inevitable part of this whole process, right? When you dare to break free from the script, you're bound to encounter some pushback.
Oh, absolutely. It comes with the territory. When you challenge those norms, when you pursue something unconventional, well, there will always be people who question your choices or try to pull you back into that safe zone.
That's so true. So how do you deal with that negativity? It must be tough to stay focused when you're constantly bombarded with those doubts and criticisms.
It's definitely a challenge, no doubt about it. One crucial skill is learning to discern between helpful feedback and negativity that's just meant to hold you back. Constructive criticism can be valuable, but it's so important not to let other people's fears dictate your path.
Right. So how do you actually filter out the noise? What are some practical steps to staying true to your vision when you're facing all that negativity?
I think building a strong inner compass is essential, wouldn't you say?
Definitely.
When you have a deep understanding of your own values and motivations, well, it becomes easier to navigate those external pressures. You're less swayed by the opinions of others because you have such a strong sense of self.
It's like you're saying, know yourself well enough to recognize when criticism is actually valuable and when it's just someone else projecting their own fears.
Exactly. It's like having this built-in filter that helps you sift through all the noise and focus on what truly matters to you.
I love that analogy. And I imagine having a supportive community also plays a big role in navigating those challenges.
Oh, absolutely. Having those people who get you, who understand your aspirations and encourage your growth, that can make a world of difference.
It's like having your own personal cheerleading squad, pushing you forward and reminding you why you started on this journey in the first place.
Exactly. They provide that validation and support when you're doubting yourself, when you're feeling discouraged. And it's not just about receiving that support, it's about celebrating your own successes along the way too.
Oh, that's so important. It's easy to get caught up in that constant striving for the next goal and forget to pause and appreciate how far you've already come.
Right. Taking the time to acknowledge your accomplishments, even the small ones, it can do wonders for your confidence and your motivation.
It's like those little celebrations become milestones along the path, marking your progress and reminding you of your strength.
And that resilience is crucial because, as we've been discussing, the path to leaving a mark, well, it's rarely a straight line, is it? There will be those challenges, those setbacks, those moments of doubt.
That's life, isn't it?
Yeah.
So how do you cultivate that inner strength? How do you bounce back when you inevitably stumble?
Well, remember when we were talking about embracing failure? That's a huge part of it. When you learn to view those setbacks as opportunities for growth rather than defeats, you become much more resilient.
So it's about that perspective shift again, right?
Yeah.
Seeing those challenges as valuable learning experiences.
Exactly. It's about asking yourself, okay, what can I learn from this? How can I use this experience to become stronger, to be better equipped for the next challenge?
It's like those obstacles, they become stepping stones, not roadblocks.
I like that. They actually propel you further along your path.
This whole conversation, it reminds me of that famous quote, the only way to do great work is to love what you do.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like finding that passion, that thing that truly lights you up, well, that's a key part of creating a meaningful legacy.
Absolutely. When you're passionate about what you're doing, it fuels your dedication. It inspires you to push beyond your limits. And that passion, it becomes contagious. It inspires others around you.
And that brings us back to legacy, doesn't it? It's not just about achieving something extraordinary. It's about the impact you have on the world and those around you.
Exactly. And that impact, it can be amplified exponentially when you're driven by genuine passion and a deep sense of purpose.
So it's not just about what you achieve. It's about the energy and intention behind your actions, the why behind the what.
You got it. It's about approaching life with a sense of purpose, using your unique talents and passions to make a positive contribution to the world.
It's that ripple effect in action, right? Where even small acts of kindness, creativity, courage, they can spread outward and touch countless lives.
Exactly. You never know how far those ripples will travel or who they might inspire along the way. That's the beauty of leaving a legacy. It extends far beyond our individual lives. It continues to influence the world long after we're gone.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. Courage, failure, self-actualization, the importance of passion and purpose. It feels like we're getting closer to understanding what it truly means to leave a mark on the world.
We are, aren't we? It's a fascinating exploration, peeling back the layers of these concepts and seeing how they all connect to this idea of creating a meaningful and lasting legacy.
Absolutely, and I have a feeling you have some more wisdom to share on this topic.
I do. And it touches on a crucial question that we haven't addressed directly yet.
All right, I'm all ears. What's this crucial question we've been dancing around?
It's a simple question, really, but it's got some pretty profound implications. What story do you want to tell with your life?
Whoa, that really hits home, doesn't it? It's not about chasing some predefined idea of success or trying to impress everyone else. It's about creating a narrative, a story that feels authentic and meaningful to you.
You hit the nail on the head. It's about aligning your actions with your values, pursuing your passions, making choices that contribute to the story you want to leave behind.
So how do we actually do that? How do we craft that story It feels like a massive undertaking, kind of overwhelming when you think about it.
It doesn't have to be overwhelming. Think of it as a series of smaller choices, each one building on the last. It starts with figuring out what truly matters to you. What kind of impact do you want to have on the world? What values do you want to embody? What legacy do you want to leave behind?
I like that approach. It breaks down this big, abstract concept into something much more manageable. It's like creating a roadmap for your life, guided by your own internal compass.
Exactly. And remember, that roadmap isn't set in stone. It can evolve and change as you grow and learn. The important thing is to keep those core values and aspirations in mind as you navigate the journey.
It's like we're constantly refining the story we're telling, adding new chapters, making adjustments as we go.
And embracing those detours and unexpected twists and turns as part of the narrative. Remember, it's those imperfections and challenges that make the story more interesting and meaningful.
That's such a great point. It's those moments of struggle, of resilience, that define who we are and what we stand for.
And they're often the moments that inspire others the most, wouldn't you say?
Definitely.
When we share our vulnerabilities, when we show the courage to overcome adversity, it creates a powerful connection. It shows others that they too can achieve their dreams.
So, as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave our listeners with a final thought to ponder. If your life were a book, what would the title be? What would the chapters tell? What legacy would those pages leave behind?
What a powerful image to leave them with. It really captures the essence of everything we've talked about today. Remember, you are the author of your own story. Write a narrative that feels authentic and fulfilling, a story that reflects your values and makes a positive impact on the world around you.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everyone. We'll see you next time for another thought-provoking exploration.